Hi class, it's me, Angela Hines here, and today is December 3rd, 2021, and I will be describing the micturition process. The process of micturition is also known as the emptying of the bladder or urination. So we're going to start by looking at the involuntary micturition reflex. The involuntary micturition reflex begins by the stretch receptors detecting the filling of the bladder. The stretch receptors here are the green lines, and here we have the full urinary bladder. So these receptors sense that the bladder is full, and they transmit sensory data through the pelvic nerve up the spinal column, up the spinal cord to the pons. The signal then returns to the bladder via the spinal cord, mainly segments S2 and S3, via parasympathetic fibers in the pelvic nerve. Then an afferent signal, or an outgoing signal, excites the detrusor muscle, which you can see here is this thin layer of muscle around the bladder. That muscle is excited and it contracts. At the same time, the internal urethral sphincter relaxes. As the detrusor muscle contracts, the internal urethral sphincter relaxes, and the urine is voided if it is not stopped by your brain, which we will discuss next. Voluntary micturition control is when you need to use the restroom, but it's not an appropriate time, so you hold it in. So this is a learned process that we all go through in our young childhood, mainly toddlerhood, and it begins in the pons. The pons receives a signal from the stretch receptors here. If it's a good time to use the restroom, then the spinal interneurons that excite the detrusor muscle here and relaxes the internal urethral sphincter, and the urine is voided, just like in the involuntary reflex. If it's not a good time to use the restroom and you can't get to the bathroom, then the signal from the pons excite the spinal interneurons that keep the external urethral sphincter here, down here at the bottom of the picture. It keeps it contracted, and the urine will then remain in the bladder, even if it's full. When it's time to go, then the signal from the pons ceases and the external urethral sphincter relaxes and the urine is voided. Thus, micturition process happens. Thank you. I appreciate it. I hope everyone has a great last couple weeks of the class.